Hey everybody, it's Corey. I am here, and in just a second, we're going to go live on Facebook and Instagram as well. So I am just making sure that that's all working. All right. And we'll get Instagram going too. All right, Instagram. What up, everybody? Okay, so we got Crowdcast and Facebook over here, Instagram over here. Hello, everybody. I am excited to chat with you all today. All right, let's get down to it, shall we? Let's see. So today, if you're just tuning in, today is an Ask Me Anything. I've got an hour, open office hours. We will take some time to answer your questions. I'm also going to give a behind the scenes sneak peek into the Abundant Artist Association, which is our membership program that is taking enrollment now, and final day of enrollment is next week, Tuesday. So I am going to go ahead and just dive right in. Before I answer your questions, I want to talk a little bit about, Anita Nowinska says, hey, you're looking very relaxed. It's because I just got back from exercising and I'm literally in a sweaty t-shirt. I took 2 minutes to wash my face and comb my hair so that I looked presentable for today's video. So let's dive in. I am going to, if you're watching on Instagram, if you want to see, I'm going to, for like 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to share my screen. If you head over to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/theabundantartist, you can watch the live video of where I'm sharing my screen to show you some previews of the behind the scenes parts of the association. So basically what's going on here, let me share my screen. All right. So the association has several parts. The first part is the membership section. This is, you'll notice it looks a lot like Facebook. It's basically it's called Workplace by Facebook, and it's just an app that's on the web. There's also a mobile app. And you can see in here, there's a bunch of discussion about things that are happening in the association. I asked a question a couple days ago if I could feature people's art on Instagram. But there's lots of good questions going on. People talking about what are the best printers, artists introducing themselves, some questions about branding. So these are the discussions that are happening right now inside of the association. This works a lot like Facebook, but you'll notice there's no distractions. There's no games. There's no annoying family members. There's no self-promotion. There's no ads. It is just our group. And the Abundant Artist pays for this, so this is part of your membership in the association. So basically what happens is within 24 hours after you join the association, you'll get an invite into the association workplace setup. Okay, so in addition to the community stuff, there's also monthly challenges and courses. Some of you have already taken the Abundant Artist courses, so you're going to be familiar with this. But I wanted to show you real quick what the courses look like for those of us who haven't taken the courses. Okay, so there are essentially 5 basic courses that go along with the Abundant Artist. There's these 2 free challenges, which are part of the Abundant Artist. Anybody can sign up for free. And then there's our 3 paid courses, and the Abundant Artist, the How to Sell Your Art Online course is broken into 3 separate programs, which I'll show you in a second. Facebook Marketing for Artists is all about how to sell art on Facebook. Selling Art on Instagram is our, we just did a big upgrade on that training last week with Amira Rahim, an artist who sells loads of art on Instagram. And that will be live in the association very soon, within the next, actually on Friday. And then How to Sell Your Art Online is our core training program that we've been running for 8 years. And that course looks like this. It's broken down into 3 parts. You see it says 101, the story of your art, 201, sales funnels, and 301, PR and media outreach. So in the course, you'll see that there's some workbooks to download. And this is what the workbook looks like. It's a Word document, and there is also a PDF that you can print out if you prefer to write things out by hand. In addition, so in that workbook for the How to Sell Your Art Online course, there are, this is a 10-page, 12-page workbook that walks you through how to figure out who your ideal clients are, how to separate yourself from other artists that are out there, and where to find your clients. So that's what this workbook is all about. To help you work through the workbook, we have a whole bunch of videos that will show you how to fill out the workbook, what kind of questions to answer. So you'll notice over here on the right-hand side, it says Discovering Your Uniquity. When that loads, you'll notice that there's some instructions for the page, and then there's videos here. And you watch that video, and it'll show you how to do that section of the workbook. Memory Vessel, great question, says, how does the How to Sell Your Art Online course vary from the workbook? So the course is basically a much more in-depth, intense version of the book. So if you've purchased my book, How to Sell Your Art Online, it's only 200 pages. There's only so much content that I can fit in there. And in the book, I also talk about mindset stuff, and I also talk about website stuff and some other things. So the book, you can think of the book as an overview, and the course is a much more in-depth exploration of the ideas with a bias towards getting you to take action and do things so that you're moving your career forward. So that's sort of the gist of the courses. Now, in addition to stop sharing. There we go. So in addition to the course materials and the membership site, the community stuff, there is, we're also doing things like offering health insurance, group discounts for health insurance, and we're also offering clinics with lawyers who specialize in copyright and other intellectual property issues that artists are going to be interested in. And we're also doing advocacy work on behalf of artists to help encourage companies to do a better job of sourcing their art from legitimate sources, so you don't get situations like what happened with Hobby Lobby a few weeks ago, where they purchased 5,000 pieces of stolen art on accident. Anita Nowinski, this is so nice of you. She says, the courses are awesome. They'll change your life as an artist and have you earning a decent living within 6 to 12 months. Anita, that's nice of you, and I'll just share a brief bit of Anita's story. This is not solicited. I didn't tell her to show up, but Anita was so smart. She took all the course materials. She made them her own. She did all of the work rather than just treating it like an academic course. And Anita planned, like, the big pivoting moment for her was she planned a weekend where for a 3-day weekend, holiday weekend, she did an appointment-only weekend for people to come and visit her studio. And she filled up all those appointments and sold all the work that she had on hand and made enough money to pay for her and her son to live for the next several months. So super proud of Anita, super proud of a lot of our students for taking this material and running with it. All right, let me, let's see. Let me dive into some of your questions here. Number one question from YAC or YAC. What are the main challenges of raising funds for your shows, and how do you grow and sustain your audience for future events? So YAC or YAC, however you say your name, I'm gonna invite you on screen. And if you want to join me, you can. And I might ask you some clarifying questions. It's okay, so what are the main challenges for raising funds for your shows? So assuming that I understand everything you're asking, because it's kind of a broad question, you know, how do you raise funds for a show? One, there's a couple ways you can go about it. You can pre-sell your work, which is what a lot of artists will do. So this is kind of where crowdfunding and Kickstarter and Patreon come from. If you got fans, if you got people who are interested in your work, then you can go to them and say, hey, I'm planning on doing a series of work that's about this topic, and we're going to make this many pieces, and it's going to be done by X date. If you can give people a time frame, and say, if you want to support my work, then contribute here. And if you contribute, here's what you get. So at this price point, you get this reward. At this price point, you get this reward. A lot of times what will happen is you'll be able to pre-sell enough stuff that you can pay your bills while you are working on a show. So that's a great way to support yourself as an artist. Otherwise, there's things like grants. You can go to your local arts association or arts council, see what grants they have available. But grants are very competitive. A lot of artists are doing that. And grants don't help you build an audience. They give you a little bit of money from one grant organization, but they don't help you build a long-term sustainable career. So if you're gonna do a show and you need money to put the show on, I would usually recommend pre-selling your work. And if you need to do it for 3 to 6 months, if you need to pre-sell for 3 to 6 months before you can put on a show, do that. Because eventually, like, having an audience base of people who are interested in your work will get a better result for you. All right, next question. Sierra says, I'd like some guidance on registering a business, tax rules, etc., to make sure that I'm being compliant as I begin to sell artwork. Is this something the association will be able to help with? So now I'm answering Sierra's question. So tax rules, business stuff. So Sierra, I'm going to invite you on as well if you want to join us. In general, Sierra, like, making sure that you're compliant and all that stuff is actually not that hard. If you are just getting started out and you've never sold anything before, you can sell a few pieces of art without having to register a business. You don't have to be registered as a corporation to sell your work. Now I'm talking about US only, of course. If you live in, like, I don't know, some other country, then the rules may be a little bit different. Once you start selling enough work to make a living, or start selling enough work to bring in like a substantial part-time income, then you will have to register as an LLC. You can do that. There are services that will do that for you very easily. LegalZoom.com is actually how I started my business. They will handle all of your state's compliance rules, and they actually guarantee it with the fee that you pay them. That said, you can also go to your state, usually it's the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Treasury section on your state's website, and register your business there. You'll have to read through all of the stuff. But as far as will we help with the compliance there, that's not our area of expertise. That may be something that the association will handle in the future, but that's not something we can handle now. Now, as for the legal clinic, and Daniel Tate, I'm glad you, over on Facebook, I'm glad you asked this question. I'm interested with the legal clinic. So yes, it is US artists only for now. We're hoping that in the future we'll be able to expand to do legal clinics for people outside the US. If you are in Canada, there is an artist association in Canada that will help you with this. But here's how the legal clinics are going to work. So we have relationships with intellectual property lawyers. Some of them are independent lawyers. Some of them are members of an organization called Nonprofit Lawyers for the Arts. And basically what we'll do is very similar to this training now, where we're just watching, if you're on Crowdcast, just watching here, it'll be a private training just for association members, so it won't be broadcast on Facebook or Instagram. But essentially we'll have these lawyers come on. We will pre-book some slots because they'll only be able to take so many questions. And the association will pay the bill for that clinic, and you as members will be able to take advantage of that. So you'll pre-submit your questions. The lawyers may have some additional follow-up or things that they want, but you'll get a few minutes with those lawyers during the clinic to get your questions answered, and that'll be one of the benefits of working with the association. Okay, let's see. Next question. By the way, it's 107 degrees in Portland today. It is very, very hot, and my apartment doesn't have AC. We just moved, and my air conditioner hasn't arrived yet, so that'll be here tomorrow. But unfortunately, it's 107 degrees today. All right, Marianne Goodrich says, a gallery wants to carry my art, and we're at the beginning stages of communication and haven't yet discussed arrangements. My question is, how do I ask them what their policy is around money? Do I say, do you work on a commission basis? And if so, what percentage of sales do you require? Okay. So Marianne, if you're working with a gallery, here's what you should do. Get a contract. And if you can't get a contract from them, don't work with them. What will often happen is galleries who aren't willing to do contracts usually don't have it together enough to make sales. Or if they do have it together enough to make sales, they fall down on payment or they fall down on experience. You need to get a written contract. In that written contract, it should spell out what the commission rates are, who's responsible for insurance, who's responsible for what happens if things get damaged, what time period they're going to pay in. All of that stuff should be spelled out in the contract. If the gallery doesn't have a contract for you, then there are lots of places online where you can get contracts. And in fact, where is my copy of that book? I have it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So there's a book called Business and Legal Forms for Fine Artists. So if the gallery itself doesn't have a contract, pick up a copy of this book, and it will give you the basic outline for contracts with galleries and contracts with collectors, doing commission work, licensing work, all that kind of stuff. So again, that's Business and Legal Forms for Fine Artists. It's the world's most boring book, but it's really helpful if you are an artist. Okay, let's see. Next question, Marianne Goodell. What are the options for a person who has already taken the Abundant Artist courses and doesn't need health insurance? What are the benefits to joining the association or the community? If for some reason, if it doesn't work out, can we leave the group? Will there be an emphasis on the business elements discussed in the community? Yeah, okay, great question, Marianne. Let me make sure that I answer all of those because there's multiple parts to that question. Okay, so if you've already taken the courses and you don't need insurance, we've got two options that I think would be a good fit for you. One is the $40 a month full membership option, which basically includes the Facebook and Instagram course and the insurance options. But if you don't need insurance, then we also have the $25 a month option, which is the emerging artist option. So that would be probably where I would go for you, Marianne. You don't need the full annual membership because you've already gone through all the courses, et cetera. The benefits for that, if you join the $25 a month membership, basically you get access to the community, which I talked about at the beginning of this broadcast, which is the place where you can talk with other artists, other professional artists, who are looking for connection with each other. We're also going to be helping artists create what's the word I'm looking for? Create local meetup groups so that we can create local solidarity and local help with each other, so that artists have more person-to-person contact with other artists. I just happen to know that Marianne lives in Salt Lake City, and I would love to see a really healthy, independent artist group in Salt Lake City that really wants to, that is really, what's the word I'm looking for? Really working together in person to grow the collector base there in Salt Lake. Okay, and then if the association doesn't work out, so in addition to the community aspect of it, we're also doing the monthly challenges, and our first challenge beginning on September 1st will be with Gwen Siemel, which is all about landing large ticket commission works. So we're going to talk about how to get your collectors to pay 5, 10 grand or more for a commission, and how to go after public works projects. And then the other thing, the other benefit that you get for being a part of the community is, of course, the legal clinics and the advocacy work that we're doing on behalf of artists everywhere. So one example of the advocacy work would be if an organization steals your work, before you take them to court, before you have to go to all the expense of taking them to court, you can have us reach out to them and say, hey, we represent X hundred, X thousand artists, and one of our artists has reached out to us and said that they have this problem with your organization. We were wondering if there's anything we can do to help fix the situation. So we might act as a third-party go-between. We're not professional arbitrators or lawyers, but we want to create an organization that will advocate on your behalf and let companies know that we do see that the art community as a whole sees a problem with the way that they're acting. All right, and then will there be an emphasis on the business elements discussed in the community? Yeah, absolutely. That's the focus of this organization. All right, cool. Thank you so much for your question, Marianne. Pam White says, is it possible to join the association at a later point? Yeah, absolutely. We will be closing enrollment on August 8th. The bonuses that come along with the early enrollment will go away at that point, which includes the bonuses of getting access to all the courses and things like that. But yeah, you'll be able to join at a later date. All right. Let's see. NY says, some of the best tracking methods to build growth and sustainability. So that's sort of a broad question, but let me see if I can answer it. Best online tracking methods to build growth and sustainability. So Google Analytics is a free tracking tool for tracking your website performance, so you can see how many visitors you have and how much, like you can track sales funnels, so you can see which pages people go to on your website and what percentage of people are purchasing your work, that kind of stuff. I think that's what you're asking. I always recommend, if you're on Instagram, switch over to an Instagram business account so that you can see your growth week over week, as to see how you're, whether or not you're growing in membership. And also what your most popular posts are. That's really useful, and those are free. If you're on Facebook, make sure you have a business page so you can see your insights, which will show you, demographic information about your followers, including age, gender, where they live, all that kind of stuff, what the most popular cities are for your followers, all that kind of stuff. That's really helpful. So hopefully that answers that question. Let's see. Oh, Kim, this is such a great question. So will there be a free level for the Abundant Artist Association? So we already have a free level, Kim. There's no community there, but if you head over to theabundantartist.com and you check out the free membership library, there's a handful of resources there. But no, there's no free community or anything like that. So here's why I wanted to answer this question, Kim. Free communities are worth what you pay for them, which is nothing. There are some free communities that are great if the people running them have a vested interest in curating them and making sure they continue running and making sure they're good and all that stuff. But the problem with free communities is they tend to grow very quickly. And I'm a member of several large artist groups on Facebook, 50, 60, 70,000 members, but those groups tend to devolve to artists whining and artists pitching each other. And that's a big part of the reason that we started the association, because so many of these artist groups are just about artists whining and complaining and not actually doing the steps to move themselves forward. So if you're serious about growing your art business to a financially viable point, you need to put some money into it, whether you join our group or some other group, or you put the money into advertising, or whatever you need to put the money into for your art business. I support that. But trying to get good business advice from free groups is really, really hard, especially when you're at the beginning and you don't know, and you don't necessarily have the experience to discern good advice from bad advice. Let's see. John, okay, great question, Jonathan. So Jonathan, I'm going to post a link. There is, I wrote a blog post about the health insurance. Basically, of the sample quotes that we were given, so to cover to cover 2 people plus children, like to cover a family, is going to be around $800 a month. And I think that's with a $3,000 deductible. So the rates are not, they're not amazing, but they're about as good as what you would get in a group coverage plan. in a decent sized employer. But those rates will continue to go down the more that the Abundant Artists Association grows. So the larger our group is, the better those rates will get. Hopefully that helps you answer it. Now those rates are going to vary based on your health history and your age and different factors, but that should give you an idea. Let's see. Nina says, if your partner is an artist, does it make sense for him or her to join separately, or do you have partner plans? So Nina, if you and your partner want to join together, I'm fine with that. If you want to share a login, that's totally fine. We have some artists who have studio assistants who've joined the association, and they just share a login with their associates, with their assistants, so that their assistants can do a lot of the business and marketing work. And then they spend time in the community. So hopefully that answers that question. Let's see. Oh, great question. So Tracy says, I listened to the first onboarding call, which we had last week, and she's in the beginning stages of launching her art marketing, and I'm not sure that commission work is what she wants to do. That's totally fine. So our challenges will be a different topic each month. So I haven't announced it yet, but I guess I'll announce it here. So in September, we're doing the challenges is commissions with Gwen Siemel. In October, we are doing the challenge for October is going to be how to sell at art shows, at tent shows where you have a tent and you're selling your work that way. That's going to be with Owen Garrett, who has a track record of selling several $1 million worth of art through our shows. You can look up a podcast with him. It's called What a $1 Million Art Business Looks Like with Owen Garrett on The Abundant Artist. It's one of our podcast episodes from last year. And Owen's going to run a month-long challenge on how to do well at an art show. So hopefully, Tracy, you understand that each month there will be different challenges. Some of them will be great, some of them won't, they'll all be great. Some of them will be a good fit and some of them won't. So hopefully that answers that question. And yeah, there you go, Tracy. Brendan says, do you have many artists earning over 100 grand a year? I mean, it depends on what you mean by many. We do have several artists that are in the six-figure range, Brendan. So hopefully, that answers your question. Most of the members of the association are sort of in the beginner stage, but they're all selling. They're all in that phase of, okay, I've sold some art and I'm trying to scale my business up to either, going full-time or going beyond full-time to making, to wealth building. So hopefully that answers that question. Let's see. Francie says, are you saying, okay, let me answer that question. So are you saying that the Instagram for Artists, training that we did with Amira is the course that we have in the Abundant Artist? Yes. So the training that we did with Amira is free until this Friday. And then on Friday, it's going to go behind the vault and it's going to be our training that we have for the Abundant Artist, in addition to Amira's training that we did, which is a 90-minute overview of how to do well on Instagram. We also have a one-on-one interview with Ashley Longshore, who is an Instagram rock star, sells $5,000, $10,000 commissions off of Instagram all the time. And that will also be part of that sort of Instagram library of how to do well on Instagram. So hopefully that answers that question. Let's see. Kim Detmer says, how many artists do we need to sign up for the healthcare before you get the rates? So the rates that I quoted earlier are what we get just out the gate, Kim. I negotiated a group rate based on a pretty small group, which we've already exceeded. So essentially the breakdown is once we get to about 400 or 500 artists, then we'll see a significant reduction in costs, and our goal is to get to that number before the end of this year. And then next year, we want to grow the association to several thousand artists because we want to be not only an organization that helps artists sell their work, but we want to be an organization that makes the art world sit up and take notice and say, hey, we're going to make some significant changes to the way that the art world works and make it more in favor of the artists. Okay, let's see. So Julie says, is there an option for those of us who've already purchased some of the Abundant Artist courses? If you've already purchased all of the How to Sell Your Art Online courses, then you might just sign up for the $25 a month membership, which doesn't include any of the courses, and that's where I would send you there. Okay, let's see. Okay, Lindsay Catherine says, I'm on board. I want to join the association. Whew. The annual plan sounds the best in terms of full access. The health insurance isn't necessary for me currently. Is it possible to have the annual plan but opt out of the health insurance portion? Yeah, you don't have to use the health insurance stuff. Like if you sign up for the annual plan, that'll give you access to all of the course materials and the insurance discounts. If you don't need the insurance discounts, you won't need them. Not every member of the association will use all of the benefits, but it still gives you, at the annual plan, it still gives you 2 months of the full membership free and gives you all access to all of the courses. Melanie Manette says, I'm looking for a fine artist agent or rep because this is a lot of info and it gets a little overwhelming. Do you recommend a fine artist rep? And if so, where would I find one? I don't have a particular rep that I recommend, Melanie, because it varies so much based on what you want out of that relationship, what style of art you make. Different reps and different gallery owners sell different types of art. They specialize in different types of art. So you want to find an artist agent or rep who specializes in the kind of work that you do. And also, in all reality, the good reps, the good agents, they only work with artists who already have a track record of selling. So I would recommend that you learn how to sell and show that you have a track record of selling before you go looking for a rep, because the good ones are only looking for artists who already have a track record. Ooh, 107-degree heat. I'm dying over here. All right. Trace Fox again says, I belong to a local artist group in New Jersey with 20 to 30 members, and I wonder if I promote the Abundant Artists Association to the group, is there any referral incentive? Okay, yeah, I'm totally willing to work something out, Tracy. If you are part of a local group already and you want to get a group discount to the Abundant Artists Association, email me directly and we'll work something out. You can email me, Corey, C-O-R-Y, @theabundantartist.com, and just say that you got a group and, and let me know how many of them are interested in joining, and we'll work something out. Alrighty. Sorry, I'm just reading. We're broadcasting in 3 different places, so I'm just making sure I get to everybody's questions. All right. Kevin says, I'd like to send traffic via social media to my Etsy store. With Instagram and Facebook, is it better to go with business accounts or personal ones? Under my real name or a fictitious business name? Okay, let me break this down into parts. What's the best way to take traffic from social media, and which social media, to your store? So if you're selling on Etsy, for example, I wanna warn you just one thing. Etsy is not a great marketplace for fine art. If you are selling small illustrations, less than $100, you can probably do pretty well on Etsy. But if you're selling a $5,000 oil painting, or you want to get to the point where you're selling a $5,000 oil painting or a sculpture, something that is a little more expensive, then Etsy will probably not get you there. Etsy has trained their audience to look for deals, to look for inexpensive crafts and handmade items. It's not a fine art marketplace. So the best thing that you can do is send people from Instagram and Facebook to your website, where you get them to join your mailing list, and then get those people to, and then once they're on your mailing list, start marketing to them. Now, I'm seeing a lot of artists right now at this moment have a lot of success with posting work in progress to Instagram, getting people to direct message them on Instagram and do a PayPal invoice, or just have somebody send money via PayPal to sell art on Instagram. That works really well. Right now, that works really well. Instagram is owned by Facebook. They've already demonstrated that they are willing to change the rules, right? The algorithm switch that happened last year and this year. Things are going to change, and it's going to get harder to sell your art on Instagram at some point. Right now, it's really hot. I would strongly recommend that all of the artists who are selling on Instagram right now use Instagram to build a mailing list, because if you don't build a mailing list, at some point the gold rush at Instagram is going to go away. And I'm looking at the Instagram broadcast right now because I want you all to hear me. At some point, the Instagram gold rush is going to go away. And the artists who survive that are going to be the ones who have built a mailing list. That's going to be the key to your long-term survival and financial viability as an artist. Okay, hopefully that answers that question, Kevin. Okay, and he also says, how does Twitter fit into this? Whatever, like art buyers for the most part are not on Twitter. I know very few artists who are selling a lot of art on Twitter. Cross-post to Twitter, sure. Share to Twitter, sure. But if you want to make Instagram your primary art sales platform and then cross-post to Facebook and Instagram, great. If you're selling Facebook through a personal profile, that's fine. That tends to work really well for high-touch situations. The problem you're going to run into with a personal profile is you don't get stats, you can't run ads. So if you want to start reaching a wider audience than the people who are following your personal profile, eventually you're going to need to switch over to a business account and learn how to run ads. But for now, if you want to get started just selling on your personal page, that's fine. Whew. All right, everybody take a breath, stand up and stretch. All right. Stella, what a great question. Okay, a lawyer mentioned to me that since the intellectual property of an artwork belongs to the artist, if an artwork gets resold by one of your clients, then you are entitled for a percentage. Is that true? Depends on what country you live in. In France, yes, that's true. In the United States, as far as I know, that is not true except for the state of California. Go consult a lawyer, find out if I'm right, but talk to a lawyer. But yeah, you definitely want to be in touch with your former clients. By the way, at the Abundant Artists Association, I talk about advocacy. That's one of our long-term plans, probably like the end of next year or the year after that. We are planning to start advocating that artists be sold royalties on resold work. This is becoming more and more common around the world, but we're a ways off from that happening in the United States. So stay tuned, but yeah, that's not there yet, Stella. Okay, Gabrielle says, the association pre-launch yearly membership includes access to the following courses: How to Sell Your Online 101, 201, and 301. I'd like to know if the following are also included in the pre-launch: Facebook, Instagram, and sell more art from your website. Yes, so if you buy the annual pre-launch yearly membership, then yeah, you get access to every single course that the Abundant Artist offers. Okay. Kevin says, will Shopify be the ideal place to sell fine art? Shopify is a website. Shopify is not a platform, a sales platform. It's just a website. So you build a website on Shopify, you still need to promote your stuff. And by the way, even if you're on like Fine Art America or Saatchi Art or wherever, it's still about how you market yourself, not about which platform you're on. So, all right. Jennifer says, I've joined many paid art groups in the past, and somehow the main guru becomes unavailable after a while. How involved and available will you be for any individual questions or advice? Great question. So Jennifer says, how long am I going to be involved to ask questions? So Jennifer, this is such a great question, and maybe I should do like a separate call around this. Sorry, why do I still have a hoodie? Why do I still have a hoodie attached to my sweater? Or attached to my chair? It's 107 degrees outside. I should just throw my hoodie in the closet. All right. What am I trying to say? So my goal, Jennifer, is to continually be involved. However, I can't answer every question that every artist is going to have. That's why we have the community. The other thing is, this is why I'm bringing in guest artists for our monthly challenges. So in September, it'll be Gwen. In October, it'll be Owen. And we'll have other artists over the next months and years. My goal is not to set myself up as the guru that you want to go to. My goal is to empower the fine art community to have its own answers and to get the artists who are further ahead to bring the artists behind them along. So yeah, like I'll be available definitely for, you know, as long as the association is around, but my goal is to raise up other artists to my level where I'm at now to be able to answer all of those questions, so that I don't have to answer all of the questions, so that you have the same positive experience with other artists and other leaders, so that I'm not necessary to the organization. I don't want to be the crucial member of the organization to make it work. I want to have like a core council of successful professional artists who are the community leaders for the association. So that's the long-term goal. I will always be around, but I don't want to be the focal point and the guru. Let's see. Susie, okay, Susie Cheel says, how much focus will there be I think you're asking, Susie, how much focus will there be on online business? So obviously, Susie, the Abundant Artist, our background is online marketing. But the September challenge is all about how to land commission work. That's not specific to online marketing. The October challenge is about art shows. That is specifically not online marketing. So obviously, there's going to be lots of opportunities to learn about all kinds of, all aspects of the fine art business, not just online marketing. Okay. Let's see. Elizabeth says, is there any section of the Abundant Artist that explains the more technical aspects of suggestions that I make, such as creating a Facebook page, setting up an Instagram business account? So Elizabeth, Facebook itself has a pretty extensive guide on how to build a Facebook business page. If you Google Facebook business, like how to build a Facebook business page, you're going to get Facebook's documents that show you how to build a Facebook business page. If you struggle with that level of technology, I would have an assistant or some young person or something help you, because like it doesn't make sense for us to build that technical guide when there's already lots of those technical guides available. Let's see. Great question from Lawrence Chiu Tan. Is it Chiu? Are you Chinese? Lawrence Chiu Tan, I'm assuming. So Lawrence, what's an effective way to take down products sold based on your artwork? Stolen without permission. They host their own website selling. Oh, okay, I see. So the question here is, how do you get people who have stolen your work? How do you get that removed? So the Digital Millennium Copyright Act is the applicable law here, Lawrence. And basically, if you Google DMCA takedown notice, you should get an example letter that you can send to somebody. And you don't send it to them, you send it to the server host that hosts their website. So any website, you can do it's called a Whois lookup. And if any domain name service like Namecheap or GoDaddy or something has a Whois lookup, you do a Whois lookup on the website, and it'll tell you who owns the website and who the host is. And then you send them a DMCA takedown notice Now, if they're outside of the United States, if you send them a DMCA takedown notice, they'll have to remove the website or respond within 30 days, or remove the work from the website, rather. If they're outside of the United States, there's not a lot that you can do. So Rachel Valeri says, is the Millennial Act only for USA? It's not the Millennial Act. It's not people aged 20 to 30. It's Millennium. It's Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA notice. We'll also have more resources, Lawrence, inside the association when we start doing the legal clinics in September for help with that kind of stuff. Let's see, D. Harris says, would you use KIT, K-I-T, on Shopify to run social media ads? I don't know what that is, sorry. Will this Crowdcast be available? Yes, yes it will. Let's see, Phyllis Green says, okay, so is the $40 a month fee a monthly payment plan for the $400 yearly membership? No. If you read the details on the sales page at theabundantartist.com/association, you'll see that the $40 a month membership gets you access to the Facebook course and the Instagram course, as well as the health insurance discounts. But if you want access to all of our courses, then that's the $400 annual membership. And that gives you all of our courses. The courses individually are over $900. So we're only making those available if you pay for the annual membership in advance. Okay, Lawrence, I love this question. So he says, do you feel like the market of selling art online is oversaturated? How do I judge that? No, it's not oversaturated. And the reason that I know is because the growth of art sales online is still exponential. It's growing incredibly fast. And I get that data from the Hiscox, Hiscox, online art report, art trade report. Hiscox publishes a report every year about art that's being sold online. And so last year in 2016, I think the number was something like $12 million worth of art sold online. The year before that, it was like 9 million. And the year before that, it was like 5 million or something like that. I think those numbers are wrong, but the point is you can see that it's growing quite quickly. So there's a lot of room left for e-commerce in the fine art space, and also look at what the big players are doing. So eBay, Amazon, the big auction houses like Christie's and Sotheby's, all making massive investments in selling art online. Artsy.net, the big online art sales player, they just received another, I think, $20 million in venture capital funding. So there's a massive opportunity to sell art online, and especially for individual artists, it's still just a huge opportunity. So yeah, don't count that out yet for sure. All right, let's see. Rochelle Valeri, thank you for helping people over in the comments there. I didn't see that. So unless there's any other questions, it looks like I've answered everybody's questions. I would love to have you join the Abundant Artist Association. Again, the URL is theabundantartist.com/association. I'd love to have you over there. And it looks like we had 3 or 4 people join just during this call. So I'm excited that those people are there, and I'll be welcoming them on board very soon. Thank you over on Facebook and Crowdcast. Thank you on Instagram for joining. I am going to go take a real shower now that my workout's over and the Q&A is over. So thank you again, everybody, and we will see you very soon.